Hey everyone, Nick here, hope you guys are doing well. And today I will start off by saying that I think Silicon Valley hiring needs to change. But let me also preface this entire video by saying that I understand how privileged and lucky and blessed that I am to be in this industry. It's a truly remarkable opportunity and the people around you are so smart and you will learn a lot. My thinking, however, is that Silicon Valley hiring is a little imbalanced in the way that technology companies deem an employee, adequate or not, for hire. Let me explain. Say you're applying to be a software engineer. You'll be brought in for a few technical interviews followed by 1 or 2 behavioral sessions where you'll be asked basic questions like tell me about yourself or what drives you or what motivates you, but usually nothing about company specifics or the products that they're building or the social or historical context that accompanies them. And this is what I have a problem with. I think that the goal of many of these technology companies is to make the world a better place, to bring people closer together. So if you're applying to be a software engineer, I think that there needs to be more to you as a candidate than just the ability to write code. If the goal here is to build safe and accessible and neutral products for everyone in the world, then why aren't these interviews more aligned in a social or historical context? Don't get me wrong, make sure that your candidate knows what he or she is talking about when it comes to technical skill or background. But say you're applying to be a data scientist. I strongly feel that you should be asked questions like, what is the importance of using biased training data? Or if you're applying to be a product manager, I don't think it's enough to just ask how long does it take to empty a bathtub with a set of drinking straws, which is an actual question. Instead, maybe you should be asked, okay, well you're releasing this product into an area that has a completely different demographic than what we're accustomed to. What features and what parts of your product are going to change as a result? That seems like a way more aware and obvious question to ask, but in my experience, at least, I've never been asked something like that ever at any company that I've ever interviewed for. Likewise, if you're applying to be a machine learning engineer, why is it only enough that you know how to write code and build great machine learning models? Shouldn't you be asked what is the effect of using race or ethnicity or where someone comes from in determining some sort of prediction or classification that could potentially have some misleading results? Those are questions that I think must become required or mandatory, and yet they are not. So today's video is about this imbalance in Silicon Valley hiring and why I think it's really important that changes should be made. This larger Valley ecosystem seems to rely heavily on technical theory, but not so much on social or cultural awareness. And a good example of this is with Google and Apple. A little while ago, Google released a version of their Photos app that began to classify African Americans as gorillas. And in similar vein, Apple released a version of their Face ID software that could not recognize people of Asian descent. And this is what I find problematic. Now I get it, mistakes happen and obviously we should be very understanding of that. But my point is that stuff like this is exactly why diversity in tech companies is really important, and during the interviews itself, we should make sure that if you're an engineer building these products, engineering should be a massive skill that you have, but you should also test for the social and cultural awareness to prevent these kinds of issues from happening in the interviews themselves. That's why software engineering posts, I believe, are not just about coding. It's about understanding how your code is going to be deployed, where it's going to be deployed, and the social, cultural, and historical environment within which we are living. Because a mistake like this could be incredibly costly, offensive, hurtful, and just downright horrible for everyone involved. In other words, in addition to technical skills, we must also embrace a critical sense of detachment and test for context. Say you're applying to work at a social media company. In addition to making sure that your interviewer tests you on everything that you applied for in terms of the job posting, you should also be asked questions like, tell me your thoughts on privacy, or how has a data breach affected you or someone you care about? Or if you're deploying a new feature to a set of countries, how do you expect the feature to be used differently wherever it's executed? Questions like that, I think, become much more relevant in this day and age. Now, I don't mean to sound cynical. I simply believe that as purveyors of products used by billions of people around the world, tech companies need to be critical and detached from the products that they create, in a sense. They need to continuously question their perspective and the limits of their perspectives. If these companies can in some way make sure that the employees they hire know and are aware of the social context that they're working in, then I think everyone wins. because asking questions like this can make sure that when it comes down to it, they're not going to make indecent boardroom remarks or offensive comments, or even worse, release an offensive product to the rest of the world. In these interviews, we must inculcate habits of decency and cultural awareness into what I think is a kind of rigid and insular process that only tests for a specific type of knowledge. Make the entire process more holistic, and I think everyone is in for a massive benefit. With that, I will leave you guys. No one is perfect and everyone makes mistakes. I completely understand. But think about how much more seriously we can take a tech company's promise to make the world a better place if they are testing for this mission and this culture in their interview processes. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so appreciative of your viewership. Catch me on other social media platforms like Twitter, on Instagram, even on my newsletter as well. But most importantly, I will see you guys in the next one.